What's up guys, it's Sush. I have a quick tanking guide for you today on Dynasty Shipyard. I'll walk you through each and every fight about what the boss does, how to dodge it, what you can block, what you can't block, and things to avoid. Alright, let's get into it. Now the first fight is going to be Commander Chen and his maidens. We're going to jump right in, use Defiant stance to grab them with an Aoe taunt, and then we're going to kite them around the center part of the room. If we use our taunt right, you'll see these right above their head, and those little red marks on the outside of the bar, that'll mean we have aggro on them. So we will be taking the boss and one of the maidens. DPS will have to kill one maiden, and then switch to the other maiden, get her down, and then get back onto the boss. Now once we get in the kiting position, we're going to be walking around this pillar. We won't have to worry about these maidens attacking us because we'll be LOSing them around the corners. All we have to worry about is the main attacks from the boss, and if you're walking backwards at a fast pace, he should start missing some of his attacks because you'll be around the corner. So that way we won't break our stamina. We always want to hug the center part of the room so we can LOS most of these attacks. Now my DPS gets in my way here, so now I have to kite him all the way back to the room, which puts me in a lot of danger because he could break my stamina and I'm going to get hit by the maiden's attacks. We'll then do a leap attack, which will push you backwards, and he'll definitely miss his second attack if you block this first attack because of the pushback. The next attack, he'll try to suck you in and then do a heavy attack. You can get around this by just walking to the left or right and he'll miss his shot. If you ever lose aggro on one of the maidens while walking around the room, you could just use Defiant stance again to grab aggro. And that's pretty much it for the first fight. It's a super easy fight. It's pretty much a tank and spank. You just have to watch out for the maiden's attacks on the sides. Okay, we just killed the boss. Let's move on to Isabella now.
Wow.
Alright guys, you made it to Isabella. Let's get this fight started. At the start of the fight, she's going to summon 3 dogs. They're non-elite, so you don't need to tank them. The DPS can get them down really quick. Now she launches a frontal attack. You can't block this with your shield, but somehow I got lucky and it went right through me. Now, she also does a cleave attack. This attack is 100% blockable, just not for the DPS. Now, she's going to release fireballs. You can block these with your shield, but other players can't. It's super important for your DPS to be standing behind her at all times. I know it can be hard because she does jump backs, and also when you're DPSing, you move forward, but have your team do the best they can. That's all you're going to need to know for the first phase of the fight. When she kneels down and does the little red angel wings, that means it's phase 2. She's going to go in the corner and she's going to launch 3 cannonballs. They're really easy to dodge. You can see them coming. Just don't get hit by them. And it's an AoE on the ground for about 10 seconds. Now phase 2 is pretty much just a repeat of phase 1, except there's musketeers on the boat. You can just ignore them and focus on the boss. Now coming up, our healer stands in the cleave and gets killed, so it's going to be us versus the boss for the rest of the fight. Luckily I'm running a Paladin build, so I can throw out a couple heals and keep myself alive. Alright, so we're coming up on phase 3 now. This is the hard part when the 2 dogs come out. Now if you're going to tank it, you want to have all your DPS on one dog, usually on the right dog named Joven, and you're going to tank the other dog on the left. You can come over here and hit him a couple times when he comes out of the cage, and then he's going to sprint to the center of the room, but he'll come back on you. Now they're going to fight the dog at the front of the room, and we're going to kite this dog at the back of the room. Alright, Oro, the one that we're tanking, does a frontal attack. It's like a dragon's breath, and it will AoE anybody standing in front of it. Joven, on the other hand, does a leaping attack, and it'll only focus one person, so the DPS over there can get out of the way usually. Alright, so now we're coming up at the end of the fight. They almost have one dog down. Now what's going to happen is they're going to transfer over here. I'm going to point Oro away from them so the frontal attack goes forward, and they're just going to DPS down from the back, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't do any tail whips or anything like that, so there's nothing really to watch out for after this. Alright, you made it to Empress Zhou. It's my favorite fight in the whole game so far, and it's kind of hard. Alright, after she jumps down off the pedestal, she's going to do a dragon whirlwind attack. You can block this with your shield. If you do get hit by it, you'll get knocked down. It does add burn damage to you, but it doesn't tick for much. It's only about 100. It also does a single bolt attack. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to get hit by it right here. As you can see, it does 6,000 damage, so it's half my health. So that's one of the ones you got to really be watching out for. Now she's going to launch out a dragon. You can block this, but be careful because if you're standing behind her just a little bit, you can still get hit. Up next, she's going to do an outward wave. This goes really far. You can dodge forward. You can't block it. Now these are one of the only attacks that I usually eat. It's the waves. They don't really hit for much unless you get double hit. The only way to get double hit is if you're standing a little bit farther back and both waves hit you. But if you just hug her, you'll be fine. Now here comes the frontal Dragon Breath AoE. You can just block it with your shield. Alright, if you made it this far and you're still alive, you're in phase 2. She's going to spawn adds in the center of the room. You're going to want to AoE taunt them. You're going to do this by using Defiant stance, assuming you have a Carnelian gem in slot. This part gets a little tricky because she also puts down 2 statues that mimic her attacks that we saw in the beginning of the fight in phase 1. Now if you're AoE heavy, you can bring those mobs on top of the statues and AoE them down. We weren't AoE heavy, so we just ignored the statues and went right into phase 3. Remember to always focus the summoner as they shoot out projectiles and summon swords. Now you have to deal with another set of adds and then she'll come out for phase 3. Congrats on making it to phase 3. Clean up these adds and then we're going to start tanking the boss again. We're going to tank her in the corner. Now the hard part is remembering all these statues are still going to be up and they're going to mimic every single attack she does. Now these statues don't always spawn in the same spot, but a good rule of thumb is to tank her in a corner so you have a clear view of all the statues in front of you so you can dodge accordingly. Avoid tanking her near a statue because if you eat 2 attacks, your stamina will break and you'll be in trouble. There are going to be no new attacks. It's going to be the same attacks as phase 1, but now you have to deal with about 4 to 5 statues up at a time. You can DPS these statues down, but she respawns them at such a rapid pace, it's just easier to focus the boss and dodge the attacks. Now I'm positioned good because only one of the dragon breaths will hit me. If 2 or more of them hit me, then I will break my stamina. And now if you're positioned too close to these statues when she does this kind of attack, you'll bounce around like a ping pong ball and get instantly killed. Now the statues don't mimic this wave attack. I generally don't try to dodge it because it doesn't do that much DPS to you. Now the hardest thing to dodge in my opinion, if leaving up all these statues, is this dragon frontal attack because it usually launches them all at you. So just be careful and just take note that if 2 or more of these hit you, you will break your stamina. So like I did, try to walk to the left or the right, whichever way you're positioned, to get out of the way of at least 1 or 2 of them. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the tanking guide and what you need to know for this boss fight. This is one of my favorite bosses to fight in the whole game. If you guys do have any questions about my build or want to know anything else about this fight, please drop it in the comments below and I answer every single comment that I get. Alright guys, I'll see you in Eternum.